I recently came home to something no soldier should ever have to face. The HOA had set up an estate sale on my lawn, selling my things. And the worst part? They declared my house abandoned. They thought I was dead. Well, that's how the story starts. I was fresh off a plane, 2 days early from Afghanistan. The dust of the desert still clung to my skin, the grit in my mouth, and my head full of dreams of home. I had imagined the scent of Mom's chicken casserole waiting for me, the kind with that perfect, crunchy topping that only she knew how to make. I pictured Max, my dog, his whole body wiggling with excitement, launching himself at me for sloppy kisses. It was all I could think about on that long flight: comfort, familiarity, warmth. But when the taxi pulled onto my street, the world as I knew it was gone. From half a block away, I saw the tables set up in front of my house, the crowd of strangers milling around. My stomach twisted into a cold knot. This wasn't right. This wasn't some neighborhood charity event. No, this was something far worse. I paid the cabbie, hands fumbling with the cash. My duffel bag thudded against the sidewalk as I walked faster, my heart pounding harder with each step. And right there, in the middle of it all, was Karen Whitlock, HOA president, clipboard in hand, looking like a general commanding an army. Her army? A bunch of strangers rifling through my things. My Xbox was already gone, in the hands of some 10-year-old kid who looked like he just hit the jackpot. My combat boots, those boots that had carried me through sandstorms and the worst of the desert, were sitting on a table for $5. $5. And then I saw it. Grandpa's fishing rods. The ones he had passed down to me. The ones we had fished with down at Miller's Creek. They were priceless to me. A man I had never seen before was testing the flex of one, a greedy look in his eyes. I felt a sharp, red-hot rage pierce through the disbelief. What's going on here? My voice was louder than I intended. Heads turned, the chatter died down. All eyes were on me. Still in my dusty fatigues, my face tight with anger, I marched towards Karen. She turned to me, that fake smile plastered on her face. "Well, hello there," she said, that fake sweetness dripping from every word. "Can I help you?" "This is my house," I snapped. "These are my things. What the hell are you doing?" She tapped her clipboard, her smile turning into a sneer. "Oh, I don't think so. This property was deemed abandoned. The HOA has rules. We're simply recouping overdue fees and cleaning up a blighted property." I was speechless for a moment. Abandoned? How could she? I had been deployed. I had my mom paying the dues. And this woman? She was calling my home abandoned? Abandoned, I repeated, my voice shaking not from fear, but from pure anger. "I've been deployed. My mom gave you all the info. She paid everything. You knew I was gone." Karen scoffed. "We received official notification of abandonment." She waved some paper in my direction. "Frankly, we're doing the neighborhood a favor. This place was becoming an eyesore." An eyesore? I had always kept my lawn neat. My paint was fresh. I took care of my home, just like Grandpa taught me. This was a lie, a cruel, blatant lie. The people standing around, some of them started to look uncomfortable. Some put items back down. Others clutched their new purchases tighter, as if they were afraid to be caught in the act. "You're selling my life, Karen," I said, my voice low and dangerous. "My grandpa's fishing rods? My service medals? Are those up for grabs too?" I took a step closer. I wasn't a big guy, but I was strong, and in that moment, I felt like I could tear down a brick wall with my bare hands. But instead of backing down, Karen pulled out her phone. "You're trespassing on HOA-managed property," she said loudly. "And you are disturbing a legal sale. I'm calling the police." She dialed 911 right in front of me, her eyes daring me to challenge her. "You're calling the cops on me," I said, the disbelief rolling off me like a bad joke. On my own property. It was absurd. And yet, there she was robbing me blind in broad daylight, while calling the police on me, on my own turf. I heard her telling the dispatcher about a disruptive individual, possibly homeless, claiming ownership. Homeless. In the uniform of my country. The unfairness of it all hit me like a punch to the gut. As the sirens grew louder in the distance, my mind was racing. What would the police do when they got here? Who would they believe? This house wasn't just some place I lived. It was my home. It was everything. It was Grandpa's legacy, and I would not let Karen take it from me. When the police arrived, it was clear Karen wasn't expecting this. Her fake smile faltered as the officers approached. She immediately went into drama queen mode. "Officers, thank goodness you're here. This man just appeared yelling, claiming the property is his, but we have all the paperwork. I stood there, in my dusty fatigues, and calmly introduced myself to the officer. My name is Sergeant Tom Henderson, and this is my house. My belongings. I just returned from Afghanistan less than an hour ago. This woman, I said, pointing to Karen, is selling everything I own. The officer glanced at me and then at Karen, who was desperately clutching her clipboard. He looked back at me, then back at Karen. He says this is his house, the officer said, his voice calm but firm. Impossible, Karen cried. The house was declared abandoned. We followed all the procedures. We have the official abandonment order right here. Signed, notarized. She thrust the paper towards the officer. I took the paper from the officer's hands, my heart hammering in my chest. I scanned it. It looked official enough at first glance, but something wasn't right. This is a forgery, I said, my voice steady but firm. My mom paid those dues. She made sure everything was in order before I left. This is a lie. The officer hesitated, then handed the paper back to me. What's going on here, Karen? I asked, turning to her. You knew I was deployed. My mom told you. You knew I was still paying. This abandonment notice is fraud. You've committed a crime. Karen's expression faltered for the first time. The smirk dropped, replaced by a flicker of real fear in her eyes. She wasn't used to this. I could see if her carefully built empire of lies was starting to crumble, and she didn't know how to stop it. I wasn't just fighting for my house anymore. I was fighting for the truth, for Grandpa's memory, for my community. It was then that I got the break I needed. An anonymous tip led me to a flash trivia treasure trove of evidence. Inside, I found files, emails, and recordings, all damning evidence of Karen's conspiracy to steal my property and more. It wasn't just about me. It was about a whole system, an HOA system that had been exploiting people for years. I passed the evidence to Detective Miller. He agreed this was bigger than anyone had expected. This wasn't just a fraud case, it was a conspiracy. Karen wasn't alone. She had allies in the HOA, and they had been systematically targeting vulnerable homeowners for years. As the police moved in to arrest Karen and her allies, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. But it wasn't over. The truth had been exposed, but the fight was far from done. The community had been deceived for so long, and now it was up to us to rebuild. At the annual HOA meeting, the room was packed. This wasn't the usual sleepy gathering. This time, the truth was coming to light. I stood in front of the crowd, projecting the evidence for all to see. The moment Karen was arrested, the room erupted. People were cheering. Some were crying. But for the first time in years, the community felt alive again. The fight for justice was far from easy. But in the end, it was worth it. The system had failed, but the truth had won. I had defended my own. My grandfather would have been proud. Now, I'm asking you, what would you do if you were in my shoes? What's your take on the HOA and the corruption that runs through it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about justice, fairness, and standing up for what's right.